In this video, we're going to be talking about why do we need to format Optimistic Sci-Fi short film scripts as a screenplay. So I've had some questions about that. So that's what we're going to be tackling today. And stick around until the end, where I'll go through some live demo and I'll answer any questions you have. Live! Dear friends, welcome to Spacefaring Civilization, where fans and filmmakers of Optimistic Sci-Fi come together and inspire a better future. Hi, I'm Masood, and I'm an Optimistic Sci-Fi creator, and I would love to help anybody who would also love to create Optimistic Sci-Fi. So today we're going to be continuing on the video series of learning by doing, but we're going to take a little step backwards and talk about formatting our script in a screenplay format. So the reason why I'm doing that is that I've had some questions about why do we need to format it in such way. And this is actually an industry standard for films and TV series. So let's go through why do we need to do it. But before we get to the why, what exactly is screenplay format? So let me go to my screen and I'll show you what exactly it is. So this is an example of what a screenplay format might look like. Obviously, I've got descriptions on there, not a real script, but stick around until the end and I'll go through a real script. So there's 4 major elements in a screenplay. You have your screen heading. So that basically describes where this particular action and dialogue takes place. Then some type of action happens. So something happens, or something may not happen, but you need to describe what happens at that point. So that element's called actions. So you basically describe what happens. And then when it comes to dialogue, this is how it's formatted. First, you type in what the character name is, so basically who it is that's talking, and what the dialogue is. And this is the way how it formats it. So I'll go through why it is done the way it's done. So then if there are some more actions, you write some more actions, and then the second character, and then the dialogue. And you keep going like that. There are more elements to that, but these 4 major elements are critical in writing a screenplay format. So as I mentioned, I'll go through them again. So there's the scene heading, there's action, there's the character, and there's the dialogue. So why do we do this? So why is this standard for film and TV, especially for narrative? So it's evolved through the ages. So it came about during the theater era, so Shakespeare and whatnot. So that they basically needed a way of for the actors to quickly read where the dialogue, who's talking and what the dialogue is. So it wasn't formatted how it is now, but that's where it started. So through the early 20th century, so it evolved from films that were mainly visual, so they had no soundtrack. So they basically described what an action is in their script, and not so much dialogue. So dialogue, whatever they had, was basically displayed on the screen. But when picture films came with sound or audio, that's when then they thought, okay, we need a better way of doing some more efficient way of writing scripts. So that's how the modern day scripting, so screenplay, came about. So it's very much based on theater, and it evolved to what we have now. Obviously, there are things that keep changing. So on the fringes, like say, there are transition and special effects things that you describe on the scripts that you normally wouldn't if you're writing, say, a novel or even a theater play. But you do that on screenplay. So films and TV series are very much a visual media. So you need to describe it in a visual way. And the reason why it's formatted the way it is now, because throughout the decades, filmmakers have found that this is the most efficient way of talking, or basically for the script to be a blueprint for different people. So first of all, when a writer writes a script, so they're talking basically to the director. They're basing, this is how I imagine things would look like, and this is what the conversation that takes place between the characters. But it's also speaking to other people as well. So other crew in different departments would also take away different things from the script. So one of the examples is basically scenes. Where are the locations that happen? So locations are very important for directors of photography as well as director. So that basically informs where all of this action takes place. So in their mind, they would imagine, okay, where is this place? And then they would find the location. So that's when they go through location scouting. And in our video series, I go through the location scouting and all of the things that I talk about as I develop my short film, SOS. And the way the dialogue is formatted is basically, it makes it easier for actors to basically see where their dialogue is at what particular section. And it's a contrast to the action as well. So that's how they're different. Things like cut to or fade out. So these are the transitions that you would see in a screenplay. So that's basically not only hint to the director that visually you need to have something that transitions from one scene to the other, but also it's also to the editor. So it talks to the editor as well. So to the editor, you're saying, okay, fade out here and then fade in here, or cut here and cut there. So these are different aspects of the screenplay that is useful as a blueprint for different people in different departments. But initially, it is talking to the producer and the director. So I'm going to go through the demos, but if you have any questions, just type it in the chat to the side. So this is a quick example of SOS. So this is the first scene where we have the scene heading. So this tells the director that it's an external shot. The location is a waterfall, and it's during the day. So that not only tells the director that, but it also tells the DOP and as well as the editor as well. So then we go and see what happens in that scene. So in that scene, there's only one action. So a man walks up on the lookout point on a bridge and starts picking up rocks. So that's the action that happens. That's very visual. So that's very important. So you're not describing everything, but you're describing the action, what is happening visually. Second scene, so again, it's external, bridge, and it's during the day. So this is a critical thing. So the location might be the same, but you might be showing it through two different viewpoints. So then it becomes two different scenes. So one was, we just see the lookout point and the waterfall. But then in the second scene, we are actually zooming into the bridge where the main character is standing. So that's a critical thing. So you're already breaking down scenes, which makes it easier for the director to visualize what is going to be seen, what is going to be on the screen visually. Then we describe the action again, and this is where the dialogue happens. So as we mentioned, we are specifying who it is that is talking, who the character is. Then what are they saying? So that's the dialogue. Action again. Then it can be the same character that's talking, or it can be a different character. So that's how conversations happen in a dialogue, in a script. Let's go through an actual demo. So after all, this is a practical video. So let's do some practical exercise. Now, there are many softwares that you can use to write your script, and I recommend, and just this is very important, I recommend you to actually use a script writing software because it does a whole lot of things for you, and it saves you heaps and heaps of time. So you don't have to worry about things, and you just focus on actually putting your thoughts onto paper in the correct format, even from the scratch, even from the beginning. So you don't have to go and rewrite it again, things like that. So the software that I'm particularly using is called Final Draft. You can use, there are heaps of free ones, so you don't have to use Final Draft. Final Draft is one of the most popular ones for professional writers, screenwriters. But they, no matter what software you use, they go through the same process. So first let's create a screenplay. Then give it a name. So let's just call it, Man on Mars. Okay. Then there is your blank screen. But when you start typing, it automatically, what formatting it is done at that line, so at that point. So we always start off with the scene heading. So let's say internal, give it a location, say spaceship. And then you need to say, okay, what time of day it is. If it is inside a say spaceship or space station, it doesn't really matter. But if it's a good hint that if it's daytime, that means you're saying it's kind of bright. Then the next line, again, automatically, it formats it. It goes, okay, after the scene headings, it formats it so you're typing in an action. So let's type an action. Say, Stuart is walking across to the bridge. Okay. Now we want to describe a dialogue. So on the bottom, you see there's a toolbar, and that's where you change elements in your script. So if it's a scene heading, you click on that goes to scene heading. You click on the gear thing, that tells it it's an action, or you click on the person thing, and that tells it that it's a dialogue. So first, put in the dialogue. So obviously we introduced Stuart, so let's type in Stuart. Then this is where the dialogue, so this is where you type in the dialogue. So what is Stuart saying? So Stuart saying, communication officer, give me status report. And then when you press enter, it automatically goes and goes on to a writing action, but you can change it. So if it's the communication officer, let's say Paul answers. So then Paul says, no recent communication, Captain. And then when you press, it goes to an action. If you come across a competition like the SFC writing competition, make sure that you write it in a screenplay format because that's the very first step into making a short film. Join me again next week where I'll actually be talking about something philosophical. So until next time, keep making optimistic sci-fi.